early on, like, no, he lets you get, well, the way he did it with me, once I was on SmackDown, he would let me get my sea legs onto me, and he understood the importance of you and your partner, in that case was me and Michael Cole, getting chemistry. So chemistry, a lot of times you either have it or you don't have it with a partner. So Michael Cole and I think the powers that be in WWE back then, they realized we had chemistry right away, but Vince and Kevin Dunn really wanted us to build that chemistry. So to that point, Vince really, early goings on SmackDown with me and Michael Cole, he was not in my ear that much. He was not in my headset that much. He was there. I knew he was there because, he'd let you know, and he was producing the announcers. So he would give me a word here and there, and it was always good stuff. But then over time, over like a couple of years, once he knew these guys are a legitimate, strong team and we love these guys, then he would get a little crazy sometimes.
Oh boy.
But it wasn't never, I think it's a little exaggerated with him, to be honest with you. Some nights he's more chatty than others. Some segments, he's more chatty. But I never had it wasn't like, oh my God, it's like, this is driving me crazy. Sometimes I would get a little stressed over it. So with Michael Cole. The worst part is like when I'm working with, let's say, with Michael Cole and we're calling a match. So I say something, blah, 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 and Michael Cole reacts or says something. I have to pay attention to him. So sometimes Vince would be a little long-winded in his commentary, his producing of any announcer. In this case, it was me. And I couldn't hear what Michael Cole was saying because it's tough to hear two people at the same time.
Yeah.
But then over time, you start to actually learn how to do it. It sounds a little crazy.
Okay.
But doing this so many reps, it's a little disturbing to know that I could listen to one person talk to me while I'm listening to another person. But oddly enough, I found myself doing that. And the trick for me was, and I used to drive Vince crazy with this, but we used to laugh about it, Vince and I. I knew his cadence and what he would say. Like he would start a sentence in my headset with one or two words, and I'd finish the sentence on the air. And he used to laugh, and he used to think it was the funniest thing that I was like reading his mind. I'm like, no, it's been so repetitive that I just understand what you're going to say. So, he really, he was more helpful for me he's more helpful than he is hurtful, but there were times where he was a little too wordy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in that all announced talent, no matter what sport they're covering or pro wrestling or what have you, all announcers need to be produced. Okay, so some people are a little confused when they hear Joe Blow is producing the announcers. There's always someone in the truck, like in this case with WWE, it's a guy that's Kevin Dunn. So where he's producing the announcers in and out of breaks, what graphics are coming up, counting the play-by-play guy into things. And then there's also, like when I was in TNA, okay, a guy named Keith Mitchell, who is now with AEW.
Yeah.
Like Keith's a legendary producer in the truck, like a Kevin Dunn. And Keith used to work for the Von Erichs back in the day. Like just his history is and what a super guy he is. So Keith would produce me and Mike Tenay. But then there's always another voice that produces you on the creative end, not just the logistic structure end. And that's what Vince McMahon does for the announcers and did for me. So in long-winded form, I learned more from Vince in my headset, and I tell him, Vince, if you give me less in my headset, I'm going to get more out of it. And he understood that. But, bro, what would happen is he would get upset with a segment because of the guys in the ring or because the ref did something that pissed him off or because the director shot it wrong. And now he gets on the announcers. Like that just little thing would set him off sometimes. So that's what would happen.
Yeah.
He was always a little harder on the play-by-play guys than the color commentators because back then the color commentators were former champions or former wrestlers. Now the business is kind of different where, there's a lot of commentators in wrestling, color commentators that never were a champion or never really wrestled much.
Yeah.
So, but back then, like he did have a little bit of different respect for guys that laced up boots for a long time.